Hi, I'm Kiran Garimella. I'm a postdoc at MIT. This is joint work with Bob Best at EPFL. In this work, we look at the evolution of retweet rates of Twitter users over their entire careers. That is from the time they create their account to now. So a user creates their account on Twitter and starts tweeting. They acquire followers who retweet their content. The goal of this paper is to study the evolution of the number of followers of a Twitter user, and then more importantly, the number of retweets that a user's tweets receive. Retweets are an important measure of the impact or reach of the user, and hence it is a really important metric to understand the dynamics of. We finally present a simple model to explain the number of retweets per follower of a Twitter user. Most studies in this space have often looked at the evolution of individual impact of individual tweets or pieces of content. So looking at how often a tweet is retweeted. But tweets are not independent units. They can be grouped together with respect to users. Here we focus on users and in fact ask how often a user is retweeted over their career. The data we use in this work is a large Twitter dataset of around 600,000 users with over 2 billion tweets in total. We collected all the tweets of a user, not just the 3,200 by the API, by recrawling users at regular intervals, and all the followers and retweeters for each tweet. We also estimate the follower count time series of a sample of users who had profiles on the Internet Archive. For example, this user had snapshots on the Internet Archive at timestamps indicated by these blue dots. And then we can fit a polynomial line through this and estimate the number of followers a user has at any point in time. The data set, including many others we ran experiments on, are available at this URL. The first result shows the evolution of the number of retweets over a user's career. Because the data set spans a long time span, we divide the users into 4 buckets based on when they created their profiles. Studying users with different career lengths separately allows us to tease apart the evolution of users from the evolution of the platform and to avoid instances of the Simpsons paradox, which might ensue by mixing user groups with systematically different characteristics. We find consistent trends across users of all groups, but I'll show you only results for the users of this 400 to 500 week range for now. The trend is as expected. The number of retweets a user gets increases as the user gets older. This is expected as the user gains followers in this process. This is how it looks for all the 4 age ranges. The trends are almost more or less the same. Next, we look at the evolution of the number of followers. So here on the x-axis is the age. So 0 is when the user created their account. Y-axis is the number of followers. Again, this is as expected. The number of followers grows monotonically as the user gets older. Again, this is consistent across users of all age groups. However, if we look at the retweets per followers obtained by dividing the user level retweet count with the number of followers, we find a peculiar pattern. Let's look at this one age group. It looks like this. This is a non-monotonic curve which grows until a certain point and then stops increasing, or even decreases as we see here for the user group of 200 to 300 weeks age range. To explain this, we present a simple model to explain the non-monotonic nature of the retweet per follower curve based on a simple model with 2 assumptions, both of which can be validated empirically. The first is that the number of followers a user has grows linearly, which I showed you. And the second is that these followers lose interest in the user's content following a power law. If we account for a certain number of silent followers, we can reconstruct the shape of the retweet per follower curves. I'm not showing you the details of the model. Please refer to the paper. To conclude, we find that the number of retweets and followers of a user grows over time as expected, but the retweets per follower is non-monotonic. And there's no need for complex assumptions on users' life cycle to reconstruct this. A simple model can explain this data qualitatively. Uh, Thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.